I've been hiking solo for a little over 6 years. I'm not reckless. I don't wander off blindly into the wilderness, and I don't chase creepy experiences. I plan my routes carefully, download offline maps, check weather systems, and always tell at least one person exactly where I'm going and when I expect to be back. That's why this still bothers me. Because this wasn't a mistake, and it wasn't inexperience. In early October last year, I took a 4-day solo trip into Monongahela National Forest. I've been there before. It's massive, rugged, and quiet in a way that feels older than the trails running through it. The elevations shift constantly. The forest is thick with oak, maple, and hemlock. And once you're a few miles in, there's no ambient human noise at all. No roads, no planes, nothing. The forecast was ideal. Around 15 degrees Celsius during the day, colder at night, overcast but dry. No storms moving in. No sudden temperature drops predicted. I remember double-checking the forecast the night before I left. Everything lined up perfectly. On the second day, around 1:30 p.m., I left the main trail to follow a lesser-used spur that ran parallel to a narrow creek. The terrain there dips sharply, forming shallow ravines that eventually turn into steep gullies. The forest floor was thick with fallen leaves, damp but not muddy. The kind of ground that muffles sound if you're not paying attention. That's important. About an hour in, I noticed the forest felt compressed. Not darker, not foggy, just closer. Trees felt tighter together. Sounds didn't echo the way they usually do. My own footsteps sounded louder, heavier, like they were being absorbed instead of carried. I stopped walking. The sound stopped too. Not faded, stopped. I stood there for maybe 30 seconds, listening. No wind in the branches, no birds, no insects. That should have been my first real warning. I continued moving. Within 5 minutes, I heard it again. A soft, uneven crunch behind me. Not a footstep exactly, more like something adjusting its weight on the leaf litter. I stopped. It stopped. I turned around slowly. Nothing. Just trees, sloping ground, and shadow. I told myself it was a deer. That explanation works surprisingly well in your head, even when it shouldn't. Over the next 20 minutes, the pattern repeated. Walk, crunch, stop. Silence. Whatever it was never rushed, never slipped, never broke a branch loudly. It moved like it knew exactly how much sound was acceptable, and it always stayed behind me. The trail began to slope downward into a shallow basin. The light shifted as the canopy thickened. Even at only a few hours past noon, it felt later than it should have. That's when I noticed something else. The forest was completely still. No distant bird calls, no insects in the brush, no wind at all. Just my breathing, and the sound following me. I sped up slightly. The sound adjusted. Not closer, just matched. That's when I felt the first real spike of fear. Not panic, recognition. I stopped suddenly and swung my headlamp toward the trees off the trail. The beam caught something tall between two trunks. It didn't move. It wasn't shaped like a deer, too narrow, too upright. When I shifted the light even slightly, it was gone. I never saw a face, just a vertical shape where there shouldn't have been one. From that point on, I didn't pretend it was an animal anymore. I turned around and started heading back toward the main trail. The sound followed. Closer now, less careful. At one point, I heard breathing behind me. Slow, controlled. not panicked. It wasn't loud, but it was unmistakably human. I didn't turn around again. By the time I reached the wider trail, the light was fading fast. The forest opened slightly, and as soon as I stepped into that space, everything stopped. No sound behind me, no movement. The forest felt normal again. Too normal. I didn't camp that night. I hiked back to my car and left the forest while there was still light in the sky. I didn't see anyone, no footprints, no signs. But the entire drive home, I couldn't shake one thought. Whatever followed me wasn't trying to hide. It was making sure I knew it was there.